Thanks. So my name is Francesco. I've been making games, I don't know, 99, 2001. If you're as old as me, might have played, I don't know, Black and White 2, Fable 2, Crisis 2, anyone? No, you don't even know them? Okay, I feel old now. And after 15 years of making games, I stopped making watches for Apple, then go around with Google, talking about video games with developers, and a little bit of avatar rendering with Meta. If you have an avatar on Facebook, I share it. Then like that. And I finally ended up at NVIDIA, where I do graphics tools for GPUs. So basically, I'm a graphics guy. I'm also technically a photographer, so I'm technically an artist. But what I want to talk about here is like, what I want to have a chat here is having a little bit of a higher altitude view of Gen AI, machine learning, apply the video games, and see how we can make video games better by applying it. It's cool technology, this is cool stuff. I mean, I'm a nerd, so anything nerdy is great, but when it comes to machine learning, we're reaching top nerd. But before we go into very quickly exploring what we can use this stuff to make better games, I want to point out that I strongly believe that when you have a tool, you first need to understand the fundamental limitations of this tool. I'm about to not make friends, I'll tell you in advance. And once you understand the fundamental limitations, you can make great things with this tool. So I'm going to go and say it straight away. Gen AI, machine learning, is not AGI. It's not going to be AGI in 10 years. It's not going to be AGI ever. That ain't going to happen. So whenever you hear anyone talking about AGI, it's not going to be AGI ever. We can talk about it. We can go into the details. For now, the source of this statement is trust me, bro. That's how it is. But then we can at least point you to 300 pages mathematical proof of what I stated. Okay, now we know it's not AGI. So how can we use it? I want to divide the problem into two phases, like before the game ships, how can we use machine learning, Gen AI, to make great games before they ship, and how can we use it after they ship? Before they ship, it means that there's a lot that you can do that doesn't require inference at the edge. So the Unity guy shows us some very cool stuff. So anything, and that's like the key of what I want coming out of here to remember is machine learning is of gigantic help every time you have a mechanical, boring task that you normally perform as a human, that now these algorithms can do for you. So you take all this time used for mechanical, boring tasks, and you free up human brain for what we do and AI cannot do, which is think creatively. So before the game ships, one example is Unity stuff that we've seen, like learning how Unity works, learning information about the scene, troubleshooting. It's all great stuff. It's all very mechanical. It's all very boring. Machine learning, great use there. Another thing is asset creation, which a little bit of asset creation, quite a bit of asset creation is the creative process of inventing something cool and something new. But a lot is very mechanical. For example, if you watch any animated movie until very recently, every time you see a pose or anything making a smile or anything move, like imagine every single matrix being changed by a human that went in for every frame. They don't. It's like painstakingly slow and very repetitive and very boring to the point that like, some of my friends, the animators, had like elbow injury by just doing these repetitive movements. Now, and I've seen it very recently, an application where you give a prompt, you put the little guy somewhere in the scene, and then you put it somewhere else in the scene, and you say, I just want this guy to walk in a stealthy manner from here to there, and this guy was doing it. The animation was produced, which is amazing, because then the animator can go in and say, but I want this specific pose in this position, then the creative process happens, or something that normally would have taken, I don't know, 2 days, it was done in half an hour. It was amazing, and that was a creative process. Another great use is texture generation. A lot of textures are just boring, plain, like a wall or whatever that can be done by prompting an AI and then go, they're adjusting. So asset creation, a lot of talking about coding and AI writes code for you. No, it doesn't. I'm an engineer, I'm a software engineer. I'm gonna have a job for another probably 200 years. It's not gonna write code for you, not today and not in a week, as many people suggest. Because programming is fundamentally an art form. I'm going for controversial statements. It's an art form. It's a creative process. There are lots of micro decisions that simply cannot be made by an AI. What an AI can use in programming, now I use it, is for two things. One is learning. Like I'm learning something new, like a new language, new architecture. I ask machine learning to generate examples, and then I go adjust it and I learn. Excellent use. Or refactorings that are very mechanical. So you have some code and say, I want to make this code look like that code, which is the algorithm does it for you. Or write simple tasks, simple functions, relatively simple functions, not as simple, and it just works very well. For complex systems that does not work, you spend more time adjusting whatever comes out. Like I even had problems converting tabs to spaces once, chopped like half my file. Like I think, and most of the time I write code faster than the AI can think, because I've been doing this since I was a kid. I was 8 years old. So, but for mechanical, again, for mechanical tasks and coding, I mean, it works really, really well. Now let's talk about what happens after you ship the game. So how can it help? Gen AI machine learning can help when the game is running on your computer or phone. Well, I recently worked on an algorithm that is a super resolution algorithm that was using machine learning to calculate weights for filters depending on the configuration of the pixels on screen. It's just like a lot of words, but basically it was making good choices for the kind of filter that I wanted to apply to pixels, to enlarge these pixels so I could render a smaller scene and have a higher resolution and save a lot of computational power, save a lot of battery, play for more if I'm on a phone, or use less energy if I'm on a PC. Just nowadays is a good thing. That's a great application. There's a lot of research in this field. In fact, NVIDIA shipped, like yesterday announced DLSS 4, which is DLSS 4 and DLSR 4, which is basically two algorithms all based on machine learning. One is for increasing resolution. The other one is to denoise ray tracing scenes based on AI. So basically, this thing recognizes what the ray tracing effect is in the scene, and then decides I'm going to apply this filter here, this filter there, this filter there, and just everything looks better. Wonderful. A human would never be able to do it. No, the thing is that a human would just do it only once and then hope for the best. That's not the case. And now going a little bit further, now it becomes a little bit more speculative. Some people do not agree that this is an application. And that's basically the last thing I'm going to talk about here. I'm going to let you go. Is having agents in the world that talk to you that you feel like you're talking to a human rather than talking to a bot that is repeating all the time. Nice day for fishing, hey? If you watch it, you know what I just quoted. This is controversial for two reasons. One is that when you make a game, you want to be able to control the experience as much as possible because it's hard to make it fun otherwise. And the other reason why it's controversial is because there's not really a business model for it yet. It would be too expensive. So how are you going to price it? Ask for a subscription because people talk to you like humans. It's difficult. But I think that with advancement in LLMs, this is something that is going to cost less and it's going to be more vibrant. So I believe that it can be used to create words that are more engaging, more interesting, and more livable. And if you have other ideas, you can reach me out. That was my name there. Reach out to me and we can talk about it. Thanks. My name is Francesco. Thanks so much.
Awesome. Do you have any question? I have one quick question. I'm sorry. What's the average duration? Like short, quick, individual created video games.
Oh, that's a great question. That depends. And I can go for or half an hour about this. It depends. It depends on the genre. It depends on your audience. It depends on how much money you have to make the game. Studies show that between 10 and 15 hours, there's kind of a sweet spot where most of the people stop playing a game if they are engaged with it. But there are certain games like RPGs where people expect like 50, 100 hours of gameplay. Like Fable 2 Fable 2? That was a work a lot. It was at least 80 hours. But 10, 15, 100.
Yeah, thank you, Francesco. Really appreciate it. Awesome.